You know full well that I'm covering every single angle on the takeover of Manchester United. All the positives, all the negatives. And this video is probably going to serve as a warning about the fact that we're not guaranteed to get the owners that we want in. Whether you want Sir Jim Ratcliffe or Dubai or Apple or Amazon, they're kind of irrelevant in comparison to this conversation, the concept of minority takeover, investment, and the Glazers retaining control while having someone else fund it. That is a possible scenario, and I'm going to run through it and explain it in this video. Following news from the Telegraph yesterday that Sixth Street are interested in having that minority investment in Manchester United, regardless of whether or not Sixth Street have come out and denied it, it raises a really important point that's backed up by Matt Dickinson from the Times, by the way. The same Matt Dickinson who broke the news of Ineos and their formal interest. I'm going to run through it and explain it in this video. Make sure you subscribe, become part of the community. I'm going to keep covering every single angle of the takeover. Let's run through the full story here and why I'm so concerned about this. I want to explain it. Now, of course, we revert back to the original statement from Manchester United back in November. The Man United were exploring strategic alternatives to enhance the club's growth, and there was one line in that which scared a lot of United fans, and it was this. As part of this process, the board will consider all strategic alternatives, including new investment into the club, a sale, or other transactions involving the company, aka we're going to take a look at minority investment as well as majority. And then backing up that fear was what Avram Glazer said when he was questioned about the sale of Manchester United out in Qatar.
Can you give me an update of where you stand with the sale of Manchester United?
It's not necessarily a sale, it's a process, and we're going forward with the process. So we'll see.
It's not necessarily a sale, it's a process, and we are going forward with the process. You know what he said there. He's saying it's not necessarily a sale. And that's why I did my video on the concept of the Qatari takeover and my fears of that. Because Qatar, if it happens, if Qatar do end up coming into the Premier League, it's likely to be on a minority investment. Because if it isn't, it causes all sorts of complications with PSG and Qatar. So that was my first, not my first, but I suppose my first warning about the concept of minority ownership. And this, I suppose, is the bigger and second warning. Now, of course, this week we've had the good news that Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are involved. But that's been followed up by this news here from Sam Wallace from the Telegraph and Tom Morgan that Sixth Street, the US investor, have joined the sale process for Manchester United. It would only be for a minority stake. I'm going to read through the article and we're going to discuss it because there's very important conversations that we have to have off the back of this. US investor Sixth Street, that has been involved in major refinancing projects of Real Madrid and Barcelona, has signalled it could be ready to invest in United. The New York investment firm that has been critical to the financial reorganisation of the two Spanish clubs has accepted an invitation to analyse details of United's financial performance, along with a number of other interested parties, Telegraph Sport understands. Now, that part there, honestly, I believe the wording of that has changed overnight. I might be wrong in saying that. But they've been invited. That may well indicate that the Rain Group have approached them, rather than them approaching the Rain Group. Now, off the back of this and some serious negative, engagement on Twitter, Sixth Street took a very strange decision to come out and publicly deny it, saying as part of our sports investing franchise, Sixth Street maintains active dialogues with top organisations across multiple sports around the world, but at this time, Sixth Street is not looking to buy Manchester United and is not in any active discussions to do so. Now, for a lot of people, this word's quite important because buying and investing, they are two different things. And there was absolutely no mention of Sixth Street buying Manchester United. It would be for a minority stake. Now, if you don't know, what you do know, Sixth Street, they were the ones responsible for helping Barcelona, digging them out during the summer with all these economic levers. And they not only did one economic lever, they did two of them for in total over 600 million euros. And as well as that, they've also been directly involved in financing the redevelopment of the Bernabeu. And you look at what Real Madrid have done with their finances, you look at what Barcelona have done with their finances. They want the Super League because their finances are absolutely FUCK'd. They are in dire straits. So I don't exactly want to take advice from them on how to financially run their club. Now, 6th Street, look, this is where the real danger lies, in my opinion. They're a global investment firm, look, with over $65 billion worth of investments in a spread portfolio that covers every single type of investment. I'm worried about it. I am worried about it. That's why this video is going out. Matt Dickinson, who, remember, Matt Dickinson broke the story here, I believe. There you go. That Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos were entering the race. He released this article last night at 7:30. Not too long, I believe, after. When was this article released? This is 5:30. 2 hours later, Matt Dickinson releases this, saying the biggest challenge to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid to buy Manchester United won't come from the Middle East, will come from the USA. The greatest threat to Jim Ratcliffe's ambition to buy United is expected to come from the USA, according to sources close to the sale process. Ratcliffe has entered the race. They are not, however, the first to register their interest, with the New York Merchant Bank overseeing the sale, Rain Group, with groups from America, the Middle East and Asia already formally entering the process to undertake due diligence. So if there's more that's happened, we don't publicly know about that. I don't think that Ineos were obliged to release their statement confirming they were formally interested. And it sounds like others are in. The key for any buyer is how to grow a business with a price tag of 6 to 8 billion, with a view being the expertise in how to monetize digitally, well, blah, 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 blah. And a bit down here, further in that article, one senior New York hedge fund manager told the Times this week that there remains a strong desire in the US to invest in major sports franchises. When you look at the current landscape, sport is one of the few industries that seem to be immune to the economic crisis. Denver Broncos just getting sold. Washington Commanders right now, they're going to get, they're in the process of being sold. Jeff Bezos getting linked to that. This poses a massive threat and a real danger to Manchester United. Because if the Glazers can find a way to sell off a minority stake in Manchester United to retain overall control and ownership of the club, whilst then having the funding without putting their hands in their pockets, they will do that. If the Glazers can find a way to do that, they will do that. And that's exactly what this threat is. The idea there that 6th Street, look, 6th Street might have come out there and completely denied it. No, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I really try. Oh, what's that, Abraham Glazer? You're out here for the what? You're out here to watch football. My bad. Carry on. Here's a beer. Maybe not a beer out in Qatar. 6th Street can deny all they want, but Matt Dickinson there following up saying, look, there are already others who have entered the formal process to undertake due diligence. Groups from America, the Middle East and Asia. It's a massive threat, and it's not just hot air. Because if the Glazers get what they want, they will retain ownership of the club and find somebody else to pay for it. You'd have to be an outrageous... It's an outrageously bad... Well, it's not an outrageously bad investment, but the Glazers are such bad businessmen. They really, really are. They've leached off Manchester United and they've burned the legacy value of... They call it the legacy value of our brand. Brand, they call it as well. I'm speaking in business terms here, not as a fan. This is why it's important to keep doing and supporting what the 1958 continue to do. Because just because we've got the Glazers looking for investment, it doesn't mean that we're going to get the best new owners. And as I said, we can argue about whether or not the moral and the human and every single implication and which you would prefer of Jim Ratcliffe and Saudi or Dubai. That's a different debate. That's about a full takeover and the complications that come with that. This is about the dangers of a minority takeover and how that will actually put Manchester United somehow in a worse position than we are now, because the Glazers would retain control and they'd have the money that they wouldn't have to go anywhere for years. And then instead of just serving the Glazers' needs, we would then be serving the needs of a global investment firm just looking to make money. And the ambitions wouldn't match up with what we want our new owners to desire. And that's silverware and the success that will come from that. It's a real danger. It's a real threat. I wanted to do this video on it. You might not watch it. You might not agree with me. I think it's a massive threat. And that's why, for me, this is dangerous. The idea that the 6th Street are in, even if they're denying it, as Matt Dickinson reports here, the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges, is going to come from the US. And I think the worst case scenario here is that United end up with a US consortium, whether that's 6th Street or another one. They're quite similar. You can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do.